And she was at high-level management in Ernst & Young. And she's very, very kind, very, very clever. And she's my friend. And because we were in conversation, she actually told me her desire to do migrant leaders, you know. And I was very impressed that I heard some years later, she left Ernst & Young to actually do her charity. And just a year later, it was the fastest growing charity in Britain. It's amazing. She's a special woman. Unfortunately, we have much more than 25 people coming, but they're not coming. This is unfortunate. But you know what she said to me? Just to see anyone, you know, interested, I'm here for us, you know. Thank you so much. She's a great woman, and she really deserves a lot more audience than this, and I will bring you one day.
You know, thank you so much. Margaret, you're right. To be here for any one of you is a privilege for me. And I already have enjoyed our conversations and hearing about your backgrounds and the things that you do. And we already, between us, have such a diverse set of backgrounds. And Margaret, for me to come here, I would climb mountains to come and have a cup of tea with you. So tonight is my pleasure. It's my pleasure to come to see you. Thank you so much. No, I'm really happy, really, really happy that we have a cozy little group here. It's really a pleasure. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself and why Migrant Magic. My name is Elham Fardad. I am married with 2 wonderful kids. And I've spent a very rewarding career as a finance director for 23 years in GE, News Corp, and as Margaret mentioned, EY. But life hasn't always been this good. When I was 18 years old, I was just a young Iranian migrant growing up in Birmingham. And some of the things that typically happen to migrant families had happened to us because my family got separated and I had a younger brother to look after. I didn't have any money. I had an Iranian passport, visa problems, lots of problems. And I had only one thing going for me, and that was my academic ability and the desire to succeed in life. So I thought the way I was going to get myself and my family out of that situation was to go to university. But I also had a problem because with an Iranian passport and only in this country a couple of years, I would have been counted as a foreign student. And there was no way I could have afforded the foreign student fees because by the time I was 18, I had saved £4,000. Wow. By selling perfumes door to door, working in a shop, and also teaching maths to anyone whose parents were willing to pay. So I had saved £4,000, but I gave that to my mum because I thought she'll need it for my little brother. So once again, at 18, I was penniless. So I thought, that's it. The only way this could work is if I convinced the British government to count me as a home student. Because back then, there weren't student fees for home students. It was free. But they had to count me as a home student. And with an Iranian passport, just after the Iranian Revolution, that was asking for a lot. So I camped outside Birmingham City Council offices for 3 days in a row. And on the first day, it was as if I wasn't there. I was outside the Birmingham City Council offices, and one person went in, next person went in, people came out. No one even noticed I was there. So I went home very disappointed, and I did almost give up. But I thought, I have to make this work. I have to go to university. So I went back the next day, and the next day, And on the third day, somebody agreed to take me into the building and talk to a couple of people who seemed to know what they were talking about. And they helped me. They listened to me and my description of the situation, and they helped me. So a few weeks later, I received, honestly, what was the best letter I have ever received. Job offers, awards, nothing will compare to that letter that said, you will be counted as a home student. So I got a grant and I went to university. Fast forward a few years, I had got my degree, qualified as an accountant, and I was 25 and got my first financial controller job in GE. And the rest is history. That was my first big break, to get a financial controller job in GE at the age of 25. So fast forward 20 years, I was working in EY, perfectly happy. My kids were growing, everything was great. And I felt like I need to do more. I felt like I'm leaving behind the migrant families who I will always be a part of them. So I thought, I've got to do something. I've got to help them, because migrant families come to this country to succeed. And the first generation often makes a huge sacrifice, no matter what socioeconomic background they come from, no matter what educational level they have, they sacrifice themselves, the parents, for the sake of their kids succeeding in this country. What I call in the book the migrant formula. So I wanted to help those families so that at least if they make those sacrifices, their kids will succeed in the UK. So I launched the charity Migrant Leaders back in 2017, registered with the Charity Commission. The first youth conference was actually right here, where the young people Margaret and Robin invited gave me feedback on the high-level design of the program that I had put together. I remember this 16-year-old, I was so pleased with myself. I thought, yeah, this is a leading practice program. I know, because I was in a leadership program in GE and I was in a leadership program in EY. I've brought the leading practice into this high-level design. I thought they were going to say, these young people, oh, it's brilliant, well done, bravo. And actually, there was this 16-year-old young lady, very clever girl. She looks quite animated, and she said, this is not going to work. Yeah, I remember that conversation. And I kind of knew that in that moment, I've got to really listen, because I called for the youth conference to listen to the young people's feedback. So I said, tell me more. What do you really think? She said, this is all very good. I like the mentoring and I like the extra opportunities with big companies and the work experiences, really good. But that's not how young people learn. You're telling us we've got to do 6 modules of training with you in workshops, and we've got to do it in exactly that order, and we've got to do them all. It was a bit rigid. So I said, okay, so you want it more modular? She said, yeah, and we want to decide which options we take, which opportunities we take, we want to decide. So it was as a result of that conversation and other conversations with young people that the Migrant Leaders Program is what it is today, which is the young people join at 16, 17, or up to the age of 25, and they get one of the 1,500 mentors we have from 95 FTSE 100 and leading firms. And there are 2,000 young people on the program now, and they stay with us for about 5 years. And during their time with Migrant Leaders, they get multiple mentors from top companies, big companies. They get work experiences, workshops, training, internships, lots of connections into big companies. So it's a program that we give free of charge to these young people. And the charity is mostly funded through the corporate partners, mostly. And my family makes some donations as well, but it's mostly funded by the corporate partners who provide the resources, the mentors, and all of it. So we are really pushing forward with the charity. Recently, after a year of developing the Migrant Leaders mobile app, we launched the app, and it's functioning very well because the app now automates the mentor-mentee matching. So each mentee now can have multiple mentors from the kind of companies and jobs that they're interested in. So now we can have more than 2,000 young people on the program. We can have up to 5,000 young people on the program because we've tried to streamline the processes. So lots of brilliant things coming up on the Migrant Leaders Roadmap. Migrant Magic was a project or a book close to my heart. As I was recruiting mentors for the charity over the last 5 years, I had more than 1,000 meetings with really interesting people, and each of them in different companies. And every time one of them said something interesting about their story or their background, I made a little note about what they said about themselves and their story. So I ended up with around 450 little notes. And out of those 450 people, about 300 were migrants themselves. And I thought, oh, I need to write a book to tell their stories. And that is effectively Migrant Magic. Yeah. Effectively, it's Migrant Magic. I've structured the book so that in 7 easy steps, people from underrepresented backgrounds, people from migrant backgrounds can know how to succeed in their life and in their careers. So 7 simple steps, and each of the lessons in there is illustrated by the stories of 60 of the migrant mentors. And their stories certainly inspired me. Their stories made me proud to be a migrant and gives hope, and also shows that we need to collaborate with others and be positive about the contribution we make in this country. So it's a book of hope, it's a book of how to succeed, and it's a book of collaboration, and very, very positive. And I'm very happy to be here, to meet you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone wants to ask a question?
So for questions, yeah, let's be a bit closer.
Yeah.
So in your book, you talk about borders integrating smart in this country.
That's very much part of it. Really good question. Do you want to pass to? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I just wanted to understand, because I'm also a foreigner here, and sometimes I find it very challenging being in another country, especially when you're a woman and you don't know rules and regulations here. Sometimes we go through different challenging situations. So do you think that your organization can help foreigners with
Yes, certainly the book
questions?
can help. The organization, in terms of migrant leaders, is a very focused scope of program. So the young people who join, they get multiple mentors from top companies, they get internships, work experiences, and workshops. All of it designed to get them into top companies and top jobs. That's what the charity Migrant Leaders does. And the young people on Zoom can check migrantleaders.org.uk, check eligibility as candidates, and apply if they wish. But the question of migrants' integration and ease of coming to this country that you raise are topics that I've definitely addressed in the book Migrant Magic. Because as I was talking to these mentors, I heard their stories, the challenges they face, the challenges I face, the challenges you face, everyone who came to this country. It made me realize that there are some common themes. The common themes were integration, there were fear, anger, resentment, racism, discrimination. There were some difficult topics. And I thought if I don't address those difficult topics in the book, then I'm not being very real or authentic. So I really tried to address those issues in the book, but from a place of collaboration, so that it's not either them or us. It's actually us together with the British. How can we get on? How can we help the British succeed? How can we help this economy and therefore earn our place in this country? You know? So it's a very collaborative thinking. Yeah. I know that you mentioned earlier that you were supervising PhD students in their computer science PhD theses. And that you have retired now, I think you mentioned. That was a really, and you come from Lithuania. Yes. What is your experience of coming to this country?
I moved from Norway. I was teaching in Norwegian computer science. But when my kids started to speak Norwegian, I wanted to move to better Lithuanian community, and this is a bigger community here.
Yes. You didn't want to lose that heritage.
Yes.
I understand.
Now they speak perfect Lithuanian.
I understand. Thank you.
We attended school at Lithuanian 100 years old church in North London.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations. And your kids are speaking Lithuanian. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I myself am married to someone who's from Spain. So my children speak English and Spanish, and in time they will learn more Farsi. I know my daughter and son are both keen to learn. So I'm beginning to say some Farsi words to them, and they pick it up. You know what the young are like? They're so clever. They pick up things very quickly.
Wife of my son, he is French.
Ah.
She is French, and she speaks English, French, Catalonian, her father Catalonian, Spanish, and now she is very quickly learning Lithuanian.
Amazing, amazing.
When you're good at languages, it's good.
Yeah.
In Lithuania, you speak also Russian.
Sorry?
In Lithuania, you speak also Russian, right?
No. It is absolutely different language. I speak Russian as well. I speak 5 languages.
Wow.
Потому что на вашей стране тоже говорят по-русски.
Да? Но это minority.
She's from Uzbekistan.
Yeah. And we spoke some Farsi together earlier, didn't we? Yeah. What I didn't tell you is that my father is from Azerbaijan. So he speaks Turkish, yeah. He speaks Azeri. Yeah. But I never learned it because my mom's Fars. So we spoke Farsi in the household. I wished I spoke Turkish, you know.
Uzbekistan has all these languages.
Yes.
We speak four
Yeah.
languages already.
Yeah. And you came recently. We wanted to welcome you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you. Thank you. I am a peace ambassador. I haven't been for quite a while now. And I'm in London at the moment, so I said I must be here today. Yeah, coming home. My name is Dr. Adiola Adeleye Fashiba. I'm into various things. I'm a barrister. I also run an NGO for young people. Yeah, our campaigns at the moment have been against gun and knife crime in the UK and drug abuse in Nigeria. Working with vulnerable people also. Yes. Recently, I got appointed as the Director General, Ekiti Diaspora Relations. So that's a state in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So I'm the focal point, Ekiti. So I look after everyone from Ekiti State in the diaspora. So yeah, so that's the newest thing happening with me. It involves a lot of traveling, meeting people, doing stuff. Our people are all over the world, and it's been very exciting. I moved out of London a while ago, so I went off to live in Nigeria for a while. Then I came back and went to live in the Midlands. But now I have to keep on coming into London with this new appointment because there's a concentration in London, obviously. So here we are. Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome. Yeah, so we're here today really to talk about Migrant Magic. really the resilience and determination of migrants that is a magical superpower that helps them succeed in their host countries. And migrants come here to succeed. We all know that, but the media clearly thinks differently sometimes. So I came from Iran in 1986 and grew up in the Midlands, and I went through very typical migrant challenges, family separation, etc. And spent the 23 years as a finance director in large companies in GE, News Corp, and EY. And I then, 6 years ago, launched the charity similar to yourself. It's a youth NGO, youth development NGO, a registered charity in the UK called Migrant Leaders. And 6 years on, where we are now is we've got 2,000 young people across 300 locations in the UK, 2,000 young people on our program, and they have 1,500 mentors from 95 FTSE 100 and leading firms. So we match the mentors to the mentees, and they get work experiences, workshops, and connections as well from our program. We want to have more of an impact. And really, in my quest to recruit the 1,500 mentors from large companies is when I stumbled across all these migrant stories of these mentors who had succeeded in the corporates already. And some of them were migrants themselves in the past. So some of their stories and anecdotes are shared in Migrant Magic, the book. And the book is really a how-to book for young people, how to succeed and get into large companies in this country. And for the rest of us, who are not any longer young, is a book of hope. It's a book of reflection. It's a book of validation of what the parents have sacrificed to get their kids to come here. It's really a book, as the title suggests, Migrant Magic.
But you said that you have a program. How does your program work? It's like they have to pay for this program?
No, we provide it free. We provide it free of charge because much of the charity's resources and funding comes from the corporate partners. We've got 25 big companies that are official corporate partners of the charity. Companies like Anglo-American, Meta, Salesforce, Smith & Nephew, Ipsos, and Cantor, and many others who are corporate partners of Migrant Leaders. So we co-develop workshops and work experiences, and they provide mentors as well. And we provide the program free of charge to young people. Yeah.
Is there any age
Yeah.
limitation?
Yeah, there is. It's between 16 and 25. So when they apply, they have to be between 16 and 25 years old, and they have to tick at least one of the disadvantaged boxes in terms of our eligibility. So generally, there is an element of socioeconomic disadvantage. So as we know, many migrants might come from, some of them come from educated families, some of them come from middle-class families back home, but many of them, when they come here, they get displaced. And indeed, many of them come here from very poor backgrounds, and they too get displaced when they come here. But the good news is, all of them can work hard, no matter what their background, all of them can work hard and succeed in this country. And if they do that, it's to the benefit of them and their families, but it's also to the benefit of this country. So wouldn't that be great? And this book describes that, how to succeed for the young people. In the book, it really describes that, and also the stories of the migrant mentors is really lovely for the rest of us, because you read the Nigerians, the Indians, the Pakistanis, the Middle Easterns. There are so many mentors. There was one from when she describes what happened in Czechoslovakia when she was growing up, and it's a book of validation for all us migrants, and it's lovely to read their stories. Really lovely.
For you to come speak to my community, because
I'd love to. I'd love to.
it's really needed.
Thank you.
Most of the children now are second, third generation
Yes.
migrants, and some of the things we went through, hopefully they're not freedom, but some still do. And some still, there's the pressure, because with the average Nigerian, you must have at least a master's degree.
I know. Very aspirational. Very aspirational culture, I've noticed.
I know.
And especially from Ekiti, where I come from, that is the state of professors. So most professors in Nigeria, if you find a professor in the UK, they're probably from Ekiti.
That's incredible.
That is what they do. It's farming and education.
It's a,
Like Professor Olani Shakin, who is the vice president at King's College,
Yeah.
she's an Ekiti person.
So you see, these stories
But
are
the
not
children-
told.
The children have that pressure on them, though.
Yeah.
So that they're finding it hard to measure up to the expectations,
Mm.
and they want to be like their friends. And it's like the Asians, they're either doctors or
Pharmacists.
pharmacists. So it's like, or accountants.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was
So
pushed.
there's that pressure there on the children. So it's finding a balance for them.
Yeah, I think if they want to do extraordinary things in their lives, they have to they have to work for it, and they have to have those high aspirations. But I think
Nigerians
are very aspirational. I've noticed,
Absolutely.
particularly the women are just incredible. But what I would say is, it's not so much the pressure or the hard work that is tough. I think if they find what they're really good at naturally and what jobs and fields of work has meaning to them, then it won't feel like hard work. Yes, it's hard work.
The difference is that you're told, do this, go read law, study medicine. After you've done it, you can go.
Yeah.
So you'll find that most of the kids,
changing.
they change. You'll find that most of the kids, all the hip hop musicians and all that from Nigeria now, they all studied law or something.
Something.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
and now they've gone back to that just to please the parents and get that.
I think,
But then also something under your belt.
you know, my father once said something to me, because my father comes from a very deprived background. His story is in the book as well. He grew up in a village in Azerbaijan, a village that didn't have water or electricity or even a school. And in the winter of Azerbaijan, minus 20, 25 degrees Celsius, he had to run as an 8, 9, 10-year-old to the next village in order to go to school. And he had to run because he had to get to the school fast before the wolves can get you.
Good guy.
Yeah, yeah. And he got a scholarship to study electrical engineering in the top university in Tehran because he was academically very strong. He worked hard. My father has a lot of good lessons, and I listened to him all my life, and I thought, if I agree with him, I do it. If I don't agree with him, I don't do it. But on many things, I agreed. He said the best thing that parents can do is teach their children to discover their own needs and then go and get it. You know, they have to be self-motivated. So I'd rather my kids discover what they're really naturally good at and then work hard at it and then go and get the life that they want. I'd rather they do what they're good at and they enjoy. I don't want them to do the jobs that I might want to tell them to do. I listen to see what are they really naturally good at and what do they love, and then they've got to go and work hard for it, of course. Some of the most high-achieving people were very hard workers. I don't know anybody who achieved high things without hard work.
That's a very true.
Yeah.
You also mentioned about discrimination. How do you help people who feel discriminated in this country?
Very good question. I don't have a magic bullet for that. There is discrimination, very much so.
People feel discriminated at work.
Yeah.
People can feel discriminated sometimes in different circumstances.
Yeah.
But people who feel discriminated at work,
Yeah.
how do you help them?
So, first of all, we've got to validate that feeling. There is categorically discrimination. There is racism. A lot of the government and media saying, oh, this country is not racist, oh, this country doesn't have discrimination, it's a meritocracy. That is not true. There is discrimination, there is racism. So validated, full stop, right? So now what do we do about it, right? What do we do about it? So it depends. In most workplaces, I found all my life that if you find what helps your boss and your team and your company succeed and help them succeed, then you become one of them and they will promote you. But if you're in a company or a boss who sees you as a threat or is so racist or is so discriminatory that even if you make him money, even if you make him succeed and get promoted, he doesn't want to give you a fair shot, leave as fast as you can. Because there's no way you're going to succeed in that environment. How do you? Then, because there are plenty of places. There are plenty of places.
Until you get somewhere else, you can just leave.
No, you don't leave. No, you don't leave without a job. You just double your efforts, find the next job. You keep quiet in the meantime. You double your efforts, find the next job, and then you resign and go. Of course, you shouldn't really leave without having a job.
But my question is, how can you actually, if you confront this to your manager, of course,
It's not going to work.
of course he will say
They'll
that,
gang
no,
up against you.
Nah.
you
Talk
said
about racism, I've been there, as you can imagine.
feel
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they don't promote you, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much you
If
effort you do.
You find
for
people
them.
that you're better than, more
But
educated than.
I also
there's
have
certain-
found very good people in this country.
There-
Very
Oh, yes,
there are.
yes.
Because the thing is, we can't put all in one.
if you have to
But we have
complain,
to, yeah.
if you have to complain about racism in your workplace or discrimination in your workplace, the battle is already lost. It's better to leave. If they are that bad, I would say put all your efforts into finding the next job, not burn too many bridges because you need a reference from these people, not to burn too many bridges, keep the relationships, get a half-decent reference so that you can
You know, it's
get
as
the
if
next
you
job.
have to keep your head down and just it's like, okay, when you know something is wrong, being able to speak up is not always easy. I remember I used to work for HMCE, which became HMRC, and it was tough because I started off as an admin assistant. I was already a graduate, and I just had to do it because I had to have a job. So most of the letters, even the SEOs and all that, they will bring their letters to me to write, and then they will sign their names. But I had to go along with it. Promotion came, it was an internal thing, and they had to write references, they had to do it. And they will find a way of giving the job to somebody else.
Yeah.
What actually happened that, you know, I monitored it all the way. By the next day, they will give you the results. It took 2 days, so I knew something funny was going on, but it was like, this time around, we're getting to the bottom of this. They finally came and said the person they gave the job to had half a mark more than me. So I said, okay, where did the half mark come from? Let's look at it. And they couldn't. They were just mumbling, going to and fro, coming back, which is being difficult, blah, blah, blah. And I remember sitting in my car and crying all the way home. It was Dorset House, which was just Blackfriars. So I cried all the way. And the Lord said to me that, what of all the ones that had happened that you didn't know? I just wanted you to know. But don't worry, that was not your job because it would have frustrated you anyway.
Yeah.
I just
That's
wanted
what
you to
you
know.
said.
Yeah. So yours is coming. And when it comes, it will be comfortable. And by the time I got that promotion, I became the manager for Custom House Gravesend. I was the only black person in that whole building. The people I was managing were older than me, were all white, but they were lovely people. I went there for the first time in my life, I had peace in that place.
Exactly. Exactly. You see, like what you said.
Yeah.
If something is rotten,
That you
Prepare.
can't change them.
prepare to get on.
Yeah.
To get you out of
Sometimes
that.
you feel like you don't belong to that specific
Yeah.
place.
And it's not your job to educate them. It was their parents' job to educate them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not our job to educate them. You're there for your career, for your bills, for your family. You're not there to educate them. Their families should have educated them. Not to be discriminating, not to be racist. If their families haven't done it, there's nothing you can do. You have to look after your family. And that's the kind of the stuff I talk about in the book,
Oh, that's good.
because it had to be addressed.
Who wants a book?
So I have a suggestion. Being as there are so few of us, please allow me to give you each the book as a gift. Because it's not,
No.
yes, of
No,
course.
no, no.
No, my pleasure, don't worry.
No, no, I would like to pay. How much is it?
No.
How much is
No, Louis pays for your copy.
How much is it?
Myself to test it on the machine. No, Louis, yours is gift, of course, and everyone else is gift as well. So.
But
it-
why?
Because you're Margaret.
But you're coming to my community definitely, and they will.
Then we will thank
They will.
Thank
Where
I
is
want
the
to invite
community?
you to my event.
I would love it.
Community.
I would love
Yeah.
it. Thank you so
It will
much.
be-
I'm going to introduce you to quite a few.
Because I work with
clusters.
you can
Yes,
come
they're all
to
in London.
and talk
I'd
to them.
love to.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Churches
much.
also, because what she's talking
I
about
hope you
is
enjoy it.
very important.
You're welcome.
That will help the young people. Even the women that have got to have babies and they're thinking of how to come back to work. But from this conversation, I know that they will be strengthened.
Of course, I'll get my pen.
Young man, take some money from this man.
No.
No, no.
No.
He already told us he was.
No, I said tonight is a gift because Margaret is my friend.
Oh.
And it's Margaret's event. So
No.
let me just get my pen because I think those who want me to write something in it will be happy to.
Because this actually cuts across. It's not just about.
That's because you put my money.
But I know by the time she comes from it, okay. And there are quite a lot of them. There's also a group of women that I know. I think it's the charity one I have. Numbers, yeah. I find that
What event do you have?
Yes, so I organize events with related to circulation, people, the community, students, because she says it's from 15 to 25.